It's been fantastic, Gio. It's been fantastic, Gio. Gonzo, you've been brilliant. Good luck with your podcast. Hope it goes from strength to strength. It's fantastic. Good job. Hammers chat all the way, baby. It's been fantastic, Gio. Gonzo, you've been brilliant. Good luck with your podcast. Hope it goes from strength to strength. It's fantastic. Good job. Hammers chat all the way, baby.
Hello and welcome to Talking a Good Game. It's West Ham United against Manchester City. A team full of hope against a team full of expectations. 4 years we've been doing this. We now look a little bit different, but the content and the questions are going to remain the same. Gonzo, let's start with yourself. As always, can I get your thoughts on Manchester City?
Certainly, they are the best team in the Premier League by a smidgen last season, but that smidgen I think is going to be extended to a country mile pretty much. They've got the best manager. They have spent £150 million on players. They've got the best senior player, in my opinion, in Fernandinho, the best young player in Phil Foden, and they're going to be a lot better again this season, not just because of the signings, because Kevin De Bruyne will be fit and firing, and also Jesus is going to give them the option to Aguero that he didn't really supply last season because of lack of form and injury. So swashbuckling, brilliant team.
And to the left of your screen, you've got Charlie Walsh. Charlie, may I have your opinion on the Citizens, please?
You can. It's a bit like deja vu, this. I mean, they keep spending money on massive fullbacks, and they seem to just... maybe they finally got the solution. Danilo was a weird one when they got him from Real Madrid originally, but they've now got Cancelo and Walker down the right, and then they've also brought back Angelino on the left. And so you can tell how important those positions are to Pep, because he keeps spending huge amounts of money on them. He loves two people in every position, and he seems to have got that now. And he's also added to the DM slot with Rodri to back up Fernandinho, or the other way around, depending on how you think about it. They're an incredibly strong team, incredible depth. Their youth academy looks like one of the best around at the moment. I mean, you can't help but be a little bit jealous, and I also, just to be honest, love watching them when they're not facing West Ham.
Gonzo, when you've already got a world-class team, does it arguably become more difficult to buy players? Because A, they have to be world-class, B, everyone knows you've got loads of money, and do you think Manchester City have done what they were expected to do in the transfer market by somehow strengthening the best team that the Premier League's ever seen?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know if it's difficult or not, because I've never been in that position. But certainly the talk was that how are they going to replace Fernandinho? Well, they seem to have done that by exercising a release clause from Atletico Madrid and just paying the 70 million. As you'll know, when you have to exercise a release clause, you can't play it in dribs and drabs. You've got to I think you've got to actually pay the money to La Liga. So they whipped out the checkbook, signed it for 70 million, transferred the money over, and that was a position that people were saying not was an area of weakness, but people would say, what happens if Fernandinho's gone? Well, now we know. Two top quality players in every position, be it wing, be it attacking midfield, striker, fullback, as Charlie alluded to as well. They've lost company. Have they replaced him? No, but I mean, it's Otamendi's going to step in, and he didn't cost tuppence, did he? So they have strengthened, and as I say, through transfers and through players regaining fitness.
What's their expectations this season? As a neutral looking at Man City, what do they have to achieve so you give them a tick at the end of the season and say, good season, City, well done?
Well, I think they're going for outright dominance, so they'll be looking for 3 consecutive Premier League triumphs. I'm sure they would like a cup win, not as much as us as West Ham fans desperately crave a cup win, but they'd like one. I think the real cherry on the cake, and something that maybe is Pepper's got to prove rather than Man City, is the Champions League, because he didn't do it at Bayern Munich, did he? And actually, the guy that was at Bayern Munich the season before did do it. So it will, until he does that, I feel harshly maybe it will be levelled against him that he only won the Champions League because he had Messi and Iniesta and Xavi and all the other guys that we know about. I think it would probably cement him as one of the best managers of all time, if he's not there already, but certainly Premier League.
What about yourself, Charlie? Is it all about the Champions League for City this season? Is there one trophy Pep's not been able to get his hands on over at City?
I think it's about everything, let's be real. I think their ambitions and the amount of money they spend, they want to win everything. and if they don't, it's kind of a failure. Champions League is a very, very difficult trophy to win because you can be as strong as you like in the league, but there's so many other incredible teams in Europe. But having said that, this could be a season when there's at least a couple of chinks in those armour. I mean, you look at, say, Bayern Munich, who are going through a massive rebuilding period. Juventus sort of seem to be perpetually going through a rebuilding period. They've signed well, but they seem to be doing this. So this is their best opportunity in a while, I think. Will they win it, though? I'm not entirely certain. But this is... If they don't win anything, then it's a failure on their part because they just spend so much money and they have such a good team, to be honest with you, that if I was them, I wouldn't expect anything less than every single cup in the trophy case at the end of the season.
They've got an absolute fantastic team, world-class manager. They're a joy to watch as someone when you sit down and watch a game that involves two teams that's not West Ham United. You find yourself almost rooting for Man City a little bit just because of the way they play football. They're enjoying to watch. I think they've got world-class players all over the pitch. They've strengthened this summer somehow. You did wonder how they were going to do it, but they've managed it. They've done really good business, actually. When you're Manchester City, it would almost be easy to overpay for players. I don't think they've done that. I think they've actually got a lot of bang for their buck in the window, which I think is difficult when everyone knows you've got money. All you have to do is look over at the red side of Manchester. I'm not saying they're getting their pants pulled down, but people are taking advantage of Manchester United being Manchester United. It almost feels like Man City have a unwarranted tag of you're ruining football with money because Man United always are out spending Manchester City. Man City have cheated a little bit by throwing the cash in and getting instant success, but it's difficult to stay there. And they're doing it. I think they're doing it the right way. They're using the money the right way. They're trying to become self-efficient, etc. And there's a lot to admire, not just the way they do the football on the pitch, but it's the way they do it off the pitch as well that I admire. Now, this is where I usually say, who's your danger man? It's when you play Man City, you've got quite a lot of options. But rather than saying, who's your danger man, and listen to these two list who they think is going to be the starting 11 for Man City this weekend. Gonzo, can I limit you to 2 players, please? Can you pick out 2 Manchester City players that you fear the most on Saturday?
Kevin De Bruyne and Aguero. Aguero's a Premier League legend, isn't he? He'll go down as with Thierry Henry and whatever, Alan Shearer and all these other guys who have done tremendously well. Kevin De Bruyne is a magician, long range passing. There's so many you don't want to give shots to from about 20 yards, but that guy's got to be closed down at all times because he's either going to play a pass or he'll curl it into the top corner from that sort of distance. So world-class players that we can even dream of having, and a couple of players that would get into any team in the world.
Charlie, pick your 2.
Whoever's playing out wide for me. That's the area of the pitch that scares me most for us against anyone. And then you roll up and it's like, oh, who is it? Oh, it's Sterling, it's Sane, it's whoever it is. It won't be Sane, obviously, yes, we can. But whoever is playing out wide is going to be lethal. And we are going to have a very, very difficult time stopping them from not just breezing past our fullbacks and then giving our centre-backs and rights all manner of trouble. So, yeah, whoever ends up playing out wide is going to be frightening for me.
It's Bernardo Silva for me. I think he's absolutely world class. I think he ended the season in like sizzling form. I think he's very underrated in football, not by Man City fans. Man City fans know Bernardo Silva is world class, but I do think in European football, even in the Premier League, I don't think people appreciate the talent that this boy's got and the work rate as well. He just runs himself into the ground for Manchester City. And Kevin De Bruyne I'm also going to pick him too because I think he's the best player in the Premier League. If everybody played 10 out of 10, I think he's the guy that is number 1. Seeing the Community Shield, now whether you rate the Community Shield as a friendly or a competitive game, it's irrelevant. Kevin De Bruyne was on top form that day. The runs he was making from deep through the Robertson, he was running between Robertson and Van Dijk consistently. He was getting picked out as well because it's all very well making the runs, but you need someone to have the ability to get you the ball. Man City have that. De Bruyne knows that. He will make those runs on Saturday against West Ham, and that fears me with our high line. I do think he's going to... Basically, Bernardo Silva against Masuaku Creswell with Kevin De Bruyne running past him is not something I'm looking forward to on Saturday, and that's the 2 players I fear the most. Now we're going to talk about West Ham in a little second, but before we do that, we have our votes for the 4th season running. 4 years ago, I tried to hire one boat for one game. I ended up hiring them all for every single game of the season. 4 years later, it's the same thing. You can still get your season ticket. If you want to get a season ticket, email us, hammerchat@gmail.com. But if you'd like to get a ticket for just one game on Saturday, the link is in the description. We're open at 11, and after the game, we're open until 5:30. There is a barbecue, there is music, there's lots of West Ham fans, there's lots of bars, there's lots of beer, there's lots of drinking, there's lots of good times. So come along and join us on Saturday. We're also doing fan cams on Saturday, but I'll tell you about that at the end of the video, so I'm not talking for about 8 minutes in a row. Gonzo, back four, who would you like to see?
Fredericks, Balbuena, Diop, and Masuaku for me. But I guess the only controversial ones are Masuaku and not Cresswell. I'm sure most people would select the same back four.
Charlie, are you selecting the same back four?
Yeah. I thing is I would consider Fredericks or Johnson or even Zabaleta, depending. But I think just the pace necessary is basically what my decision is on this one. So yeah, Fredericks, Diop, Balbuena, and then actually I'd say Cresswell, just because that's the one Pellegrini seems to have to trust in.
I'd go for Masuaku. I think Cresswell might get the nod, but Cresswell's had more than his chances pre-season. He has more chances than Masuaku, and he's not taken any of them. He's just not done it. So it's Masuaku for me. Midfield, though, this is where it gets interesting, because how would you like to see us line up is the first question, and the second question is, who are you going to trust in there against Manchester City's midfield? Gonzo, let's start with yourself.
Well, I've always thought that we would play this one slightly differently. So we've seen what Pellegrini wants to do. We've seen Fornals and Lanzini and Anderson as a three behind the striker, and we've seen Jack Wilshere next to Declan Rice. I think we're still going to see that, but I actually thought for this one he might well go with Noble, but just for an extra bit of defensive solidity and ask Noble to sit alongside Declan Rice just to protect the back four. Noble hasn't featured for, I think it's possibly the last 3 pre-season games, so I think we're going to get exactly the same team that started the last friendly, mate.
Do you think it's risky, Gonzo, playing sort of 2 centre midfielders up against, because Manchester City, while they effectively have a defensive midfielder in there, he's not really a defensive midfielder, is he? He's up in line with De Bruyne and David Silva, forming a 3. Is it important that Fornals drops deep and forms a 3 when we're defending?
Yeah, it may well help to make up a number. I mean, if Pellegrini was going to throw any sort of tactical curveball, he would possibly take one of those out completely, play Snodgrass in there to do a bit of running as well, and just a bit of legs in there, if you like. I don't think we're going to see that. I think, is it risky? I think the whole setup is risky regardless of who we're playing, because we're just going to ship goals. I just don't think there's anything else that's going to come. We just got to hope that we outscore most teams. It's obviously going to be difficult to outscore a team like Manchester City. We've played Manchester City plenty of times. We played Manchester City under Slaven Bilic and got thrashed. We've played Manchester City under David Moyes and got paced in as well. I don't think it matters whether we park the bus or whatever we do. We're in trouble anyway. So you know what? He might as well just go for it.
Charlie, who would you like to see line up in midfield, and what formation would you like to see us play?
Yeah, Gonzo slightly alluded to it. I do have a sneaking suspicion we might see Snodgrass in there as the sort of Noble replacement. When we did that tactics video, and I spoke about, we both spoke about putting Noble in a sort of 3. I think I might have a sneaky suspicion we might see a sort of Rice, Snodgrass, and Lanzini 3, or I guess Wilshere 3, and then Lanzini forward and all that. But in my opinion, I think we just have to go for it. I think we can try and mitigate as much as we like, but unless we had 2 genuine out-and-out DMs, and you can argue about Sanchez, but I don't think anyone in the world trusts Sanchez right now to start against Manchester City, regardless. Unless we had that, I don't see any real harm in going for it. The only way we're going to be able to beat City really is by going out, and we're not going to be able to stop them. So I don't think we should spend a huge amount of time going for it. I think we line up the same way we did against Bilbao, as risky as that is, and really try and have a go at them, because as Gonzo spoke about, when we played under Slav, we did actually go at them, and when we went at these big teams, we took some scalps. And there's nothing saying that if we can get in and behind City, and they're going to have two new fullbacks who might not be entirely ready for that system, why not just go at them and give it a shot? I don't see any more harm in it than if we were to sit and try and defend when I don't think we have the tools necessary to keep them out, as it were.
I would like to see us go 4-3-3. I'd be pulling Lanzini back in there with Wiltshire and Rice just for numbers, just for the numbers game. I think it's suicidal playing just two. I think we'll get overrun by Burnley next season and only play two in there some games. But against Manchester City, I just think you're asking far too much of Declan Rice. And the reason I say Declan Rice is because Wiltshire will wander. Wiltshire will push up. Now, it'll be good to see on other games, but Declan Rice is essentially going to have Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva running at him at some point, and it's just hanging a noose around Declan Rice's neck before the game, essentially. So I would like to see Lanzini there. I do think he'll stick with 4-2-3-1 because Pellegrini's stubborn. He is a stubborn manager, and I admire that to an extent. He's got his blueprint. He thinks, I'm going to make this work. Last season at the London Stadium, we went toe-to-toe with him. The scoreline suggested it was a thrashing, but actually I thought we did all right. I thought it was a harsh scoreline for West Ham. I remember Antonio having like a big chance to equalise, and it didn't come off. Another day it comes off, and we're back in the game. That place is going to be buzzing on Saturday for the lunchtime kickoff. The feel-good factor around West Ham is incredible compared to what it's ever been before. We all know who the striker is going to be, Gonzo, but is there a bit of pressure on him to hit the ground running, Sebastian Allaire?
I don't think there's any pressure on any West Ham players for this game, actually. I think we hope that we'll see something nice. We hope that he'll play well. But I think it's almost a free pass, as ridiculous as it sounds. Anything we get in this game's a bonus. I would like to think. I think the fan base are realistic enough to know what we're playing, what we're facing, and I think he'll be finding his feet. He might be thinking, what on earth is this all about? Because even though he played for Frankfurt in Germany, they weren't quite as rampant as they have been in recent years. Bayern Munich, Dortmund are at the top for much of the season, but they're not total outright swashbuckling teams the way Man City. Of course, Frankfurt played Chelsea in the Europa League. He won't have seen anything quite like Man City before, I'm quite sure of that, so he might think, what's going on here? But no pressure, I don't think, mate.
Charlie, is this arguably the best time to play Manchester City?
Potentially. We in the Community Shield, I don't watch it, but they certainly sounded fallible. Liverpool sounded like they took it to them. Now, obviously, Liverpool are the second best team in the country, potentially. Arguably, they're definitely in everyone's top three, so it's a bit different. But it's early doors. They're going to have some new signings in there who might not be entirely used to the way Pep plays, and Pep plays a very sort of tactically heavy system, if you want to put it in those terms. He asks a lot of every single player, basically. So I would say yes. I think it is the best time to play them. Not that there's ever a good time, but if you want to catch them out, then early, when you're talking about Haller having pressure, I think there's just as much pressure on them. They're going to look to try and do it 3 in a row. You're going to have a lot of people who roll up, and Pep is brilliant at making sure people know that they need to carry on working no matter what. They don't ever really take their foot off the pedal, but you catch 1 or 2 people off the pedal and all of a sudden we've got a chance at this. So yeah, I do think it is the best time, yeah.
Charlie, who's going to be our main player on Saturday for West Ham? Who are you looking at in the lineup? We know about 10 of the starting 11, I think. Who are you looking at thinking that guy's got to turn up, otherwise we're in trouble?
Declan Rice. He's just, as you say, I think even if we play 3, I think we're still going to get overrun in midfield. He's just going to have... If there ever was a time in which a lot of people are going to be looking at him to be like, oh, you really England worthy? Not us. We all know he is, but everyone else seems to have this opinion that he might not be England worthy. Jesus Christ, is this the game to do it? He is going to have a very, very tough day. And I think he seems to have the attitude that he'd always be up for it regardless. So yeah, I can't look past Declan for me.
Gonzo, same question. Who do you think's the main man for us on Saturday?
Well, I mean, Charlie got it right, but just to say something different, Anderson, possibly, particularly if he's going to drift from wing to wing. I'd be interested to see whether he comes up against Cancelo or Kyle Walker if he's playing left, because they will be one of those will be City's right back. He's got pace, Anderson, and he's got direct running, and I think if Wilshire's functioning, if Fornals is functioning because they are such good passers, then they release him. It's just going to be quite pivotal that he does beat his man, and actually the nutmegs and the times he knocks it round past a player and runs round them, they're going to have to come off. His decisions are going to have to come off. It's no good him trying to trick and him getting tackled, because they'll be on us really, really quick, and they will counter us and it will punish us. So we need to. I'd say him.
I've got to say Ryan Fredericks. I think he'll be up against Raheem Sterling. Sane is injured, so that means Raheem Sterling will probably go out to the left and Aguero coming up front. One of the best players in the Premier League. Should have been the PFA Player of the Year last season, in my opinion. It did well against Liverpool in the Community Shield last week. The guy's form just hasn't stopped at all. So not only defensively, he's got a big job offensively as well for West Ham. He's got to get down that right-hand side, but he's got to time his runs. He's got to be very aware of when to go and when to stay, because you can't just keep going up and down the line for 90 minutes. You've got to decide when to go, and you've got to get the right ones, because if at some point the ball, someone's looking to play out to the right, you're not there, you've made the wrong call. Or if you go down the right and they City break and the ball's nowhere near you, arguably you've made the wrong call. Fredericks has to get everything right on Saturday. Sterling will be looking to run at him. Sterling will be looking for Fredericks to trip him up in the box. The VAR is in play on Saturday now, so Sterling knows. I think Sterling was hard done by in the Premier League last season. I thought there was a few times he should have had a penalty and it never happened. Sterling will know this season the TV monitor sorts it all out. If he gets kicked and goes down in the box, he will get his penalty. Maybe not straight away, but he will get it. Ryan Fredericks has to be absolutely 100% on his game or we're in trouble. Against Liverpool, Pep Guardiola targeted 2 players against Liverpool, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he knew, get the ball in behind them and you've got a chance. He's going to be looking at our team, and he's going to be thinking the same again with Ryan Fredericks. But anyway, say that, Gonzo, are you confident?
Well, yeah, I'm confident we'll lose.
Are you feeling positive? You're feeling good?
I feel good. I don't feel particularly positive about this.
Is that just because you ate dinner or about the game?
No, the dinner was lackluster. The dinner was poor, as I've discussed. The dinner was low quality. Nothing about Mrs. Gonzo's cooking. It was a ready meal. Disgusting way to eat, but there you go. That's what happened. I just can't compartmentalise this and look at it as an isolated game. I can't forget all the last 2 or 3, 4 seasons against Manchester City. I just cannot forget them. I can't. It's been horrific. We got a horrific record against them. And I think it would be fanciful to think that this season is going to be anything different. So, no, it's hard for me to be positive in this game.
Charlie, are you feeling any positivity?
Yeah, big time. I actually am. I remember when we left the Bilbao game and we started talking about City in a week, and I was like, I want it to be now. I want City now. Come, let's go. I'm really positive. That doesn't mean I think, like you say, confident and positivity are 2 separate things. If you said, am I confident? Oh, no, but I'm feeling hella positive. I think, they might score 5, but we might get a few as well for once. We might not just completely roll over. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what us in our sort of attacking group of players can do damage against one of the biggest teams. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel super positive going into the game.
I'm really positive as well. I can't forget about last season. I can forget about the season before that, because this is a new team. It's a new squad. I think there's a feel-good factor. At a minute we had a player that was causing a bit of a disruption last season. He's gone. We've got rid of that. We've got rid of the bad egg at the football club. There's just a wave of positivity, and it's not just the playing squad, it's the fan base as well. Everybody's really up for this season. I think the atmosphere in Saturday will be really good, actually. I think this is the best time to play Man City, because yes, they'll be fresh, but they don't have any momentum as such. The pre-season, if West Ham had Man City's pre-season, I'd be sitting looking at it thinking it's not ideal. They were over in China for ages. They got to China late and stayed there for quite a while. It's not perfect preparation, but I suppose you don't need it when you're Man City, because you have world-class players. Again, like Charlie, am I confident? I'm confident we'll score. I'm confident we'll go toe-to-toe and have a pop at them, but I'm also confident we're going to concede. But it's all about, as Gonzo said, it's a free pass. This is bonus points. If we get a draw, we'll be ecstatic. We'll be buzzing. If we come out of there with a good performance, even if we get beat, as long as we've scored, as long as we put in a good performance, as long as 8 out of our 11 players have all played 7, 8 out of 10, we'll be happy. There'll be enough positives to take into the Brighton game. We'll go into Brighton confident of a defeat, which is rare. But with all this in mind, I'm going to get their score predictions in a second. If you would like to have your say after the Man City game, we're doing fan cams this season. We've already done 3 for the Bilbao game, so you can go have a little look to get a feel of what they're about. They're going to be on the boats, so if you're on the boats after the game, you want to do a fan cam, you see me or Charlie, you'll see us doing the fan cams. Come and have a word with us. We'll interview everyone and anyone, and we'll put them up on the channel ASAP after the game. But Charlie, I'm going to start with yourself. May I please have your first score prediction of the season?
Yes, I am saying that we're gonna lose, but I think we're gonna score. Like you say, I think we'll score 2. I'll say 3-2. 3-2.
Interesting, Gonzo. Can I get your score prediction?
Well, I also think we'll score 2, but I think they'll score more. West Ham 2, Manchester City 5.
5-2.
5-2.
To be fair, I was thinking 4-2, but when we started speaking about it, I've decided actually we're not going to have enough of the ball to get 2 goals. So I'm going to say Manchester City 3, West Ham 1. But do you know what? As long as there's enough positives, I'll be happy. I'm expecting a defeat because we're being realistic. They're just world class. Anyway, Gonzo, would you like to say goodbye?
I would like to say goodbye, yes. Goodbye.
Charlie, would you like to say goodbye?
Bye.
It's goodbye for me as well. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know the 11 you'd like to see line up against Manchester City. And give us your score predictions as well. Until next time, we'll catch you in a bit. Thank you very much for watching this Talk of Good game of West Ham United against Manchester City. If you enjoyed the preview, drop a like on it. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button and join us on Saturday evening for all our reviews and fan cams from the game. Hopefully celebrating 3 points for West Ham United.